Hello and welcome to this week's installation of our YouTube channel. Here we are working on the 32 sword form. We are on the second sequence. This is movement number 9. It is referred to as Black Dragon whips its tail. It's also referred to as empty step and downward slice, downward cut with empty stance, dragon whips its tail, Black Dragon swings its tail, several iterations as part of that. But this movement here has several components with it, very striking, very noticeable components. So watch here as we go through the movement. I will do the movement in the order that it appears in the form so that you'll get the perspective on how this looks, and then we'll break it down and we'll talk through this. So this particular movement starts off the second sequence, and you start here then from return the bird to the forest. So you're in a position here where you're balanced, you're rooted on your right leg, your sword is pointing up and forward, and your sword secret is balancing the form out. What you're doing in this case is you are then stepping back and you are turning here, and you're looking, if this is forward, you're looking about 135 degrees in this direction. And so your attention comes back through here, you shift your weight to the left, and you realize that you're receiving an attack here from the front. So you cut the sword back down through and snap it through. Your left hand then goes up to block. So the movement here then comes through, you step, turn, you're turning your entire waist so that your whole body is twisting and turning to the 135 degrees. It's not just looking 135 degrees. You're coming back through, and then bringing the sword down in a circular fashion. You are knocking the blade then out of the way. So if you're getting a strike coming in at your foot, you are blocking it out of the way. So the movement here whips like a tail. And so hence where its name comes from, though, as you're stepping back, turning, and blocking through. Common mistakes that you see with this form really come to either you're not rooted and balanced, so that your step turns into more of a lean or a fall. As you step back and you come through this, you have to turn your entire body's attention. A lot of times you'll see students just sort of look back there because they know they're coming back to this part. But that's really where you get the centrifugal whipping motion of the sword form. So if it's here and you just look back or you just fall back as part of this, it's really not the movement that you're trying to. So you want to make sure that you have a simple transition through, bring the entire turning weight come back as part of this. Another thing is you want a whipping motion here, which means not just bringing the sword down, you have to bring it back slightly and then down. So it's making a big sweeping arc as part of this. Also realize you're coming into an empty stance. So it's not step back, step forward block. You want the timing to be all part of the same movement itself as you're going through this. So stepping back, looking, sweeping, and cutting down through. Empty stance, rooted on your left, knocking away from the right. The other thing you want to think about, and I'll turn to the front with this one as you go through this particular movement. So here, coming down through, the sword doesn't need to come way out here, right? You're blocking something that's coming down and trying to attack your ankles or trying to attack you low. All you're doing is just knocking it out of the way. So while your arm may go out a little bit further because of the natural sweep through here, the tip doesn't really need to go much further than your ankle. So when you're bringing it down through, you're cutting through here. The other thing to think about is the angle of the blade. Don't bring the sword and knock it through like this. Here it's vertical. You're not tapping it with the side. There's no power with that. But if you're slicing through, picture this as cutting off the tip of the spear or cutting down through with some force on this, you'll knock it out of the way or you'll cut right through it. And that's really the sweeping, blocking tail whip that you're shooting for this particular movement. The application for this particular movement is, as we've talked about, is you are attacking forward, you're starting to retreat back, looking back in this direction for something else, coming across and then realizing you need to bring your attention back through. So the cut is an attack that comes low, maybe a spear thrusting down towards your feet. So that will get you in the empty stance so that you could pick your foot up, but in this case we're going to knock the sword and block it out of the way. So the movement here comes here, and that's the block so that you can attack in the next movement in moving forward. So blocking it down through. The before and after sequence, like you said, this is the start of the second routine, second sequence within the form. So we're ending it here with the return the bird to the forest movement. We are stepping back, coming through and blocking, and then we're going to move into green dragon emerges from the water, which is the movement that looks like this. So follow along with me. We'll just do this several times over so you can repeat the motions. You can go through this and get the feeling for how this particular movement looks. So starting from here, get yourself rooted, get yourself balanced. You should be able to stay here for more than a couple seconds so that you can get ready and then begin. Thank you.